I wanted to take time to just be very upfront and honest about what this Christianity thing is to me. Because it is nothing less, in fact, a lot more than the statement that Jesus changed my life. From a young age, I grew up reading this. And as I grew older, I knew I have to change. I have to decide if all this is true, if this is worth basing my life on. If it's not true, if it's not actually inspired, God-breathed revelation of who God is for me to then take and use as my guidebook for all of life, then it's nothing. It's stories with morals. That's not at all what it is. But I took it upon myself when I left home to make it my own. And the only reason that felt worthwhile is because I had experienced what it was like to have Jesus as a friend, to know God as a protector, to have a sense of his presence and his comfort. The God that I experience in my inner being matches up with this and with what I see in human history, and with what I see in my own heart, because the beginning of the gospel story is humanity was designed by a good God who loves us, wanted to be with us, walking in the garden with us, like in Genesis, in this earth. And we didn't trust him. We walked away. And now the story of this world is a story of God redeeming and drawing us back at cost to himself. And that cost was Jesus. The Trinity, Father, Son, and Spirit, have forever, in time past, been delighting in one another. We're made to be creatures of delight because we're mirroring the character of our Maker. So we were born out of love. God wanted to share his love. He didn't have to make us, but he wanted to share his love and delight in community, because the Trinity, God himself, is three persons, one being of love. But he coded Jesus, he coded the Son into human DNA and sent him away from his presence of perfect delight into the mess of our humanity. And I think we can all agree that we are a mess. We are a mess. We are a mess. I'm a mess. And so I hang on to Jesus because I have a sense of his goodness hanging on to me. God coded himself into DNA. He didn't say, work yourself up to me. He said, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to experience what it is like to be tempted, to be mocked, to be weak, to be vulnerable, to be injured. I'm going to live the life that you couldn't live and experience the greatest separation from God ever and the most painful death, so that you can be brought back into being my brothers and sisters in this delight with Father, because my guiltiness, all your guiltiness, was put on me, and I bore all the weight of it so that we could be back together again. That is why Jesus is good news to me. That is how Jesus has changed my life. It's because I cannot ignore. The reality of his love and his mercy, and that this is good news for me. And it matches up with everything I see in humanity and everything I read and hear. And that doesn't mean I understand everything I read and hear perfectly. I don't. But I mean, I'm walking with a community where we dig in and wrestle and study and learn and want to understand. But God has revealed himself to us. And so, if you ever want to talk about this, I mean, this is just a snippet of my story and of why I think that this is actual good news that is worth staking my life on. I would love to talk about this with anybody. I would never press it on anyone. This is nothing that can be forced. This is a person that I have experienced and a truth that I cannot ignore. And I want everyone I love to know it, because it really, I believe it is the best news. And it has totally transformed my life and the lives of many that I love. So, happy Easter weekend, and yeah, feel free to reach out if you ever want to talk about this. I'm so totally open to any kind of discussion.